Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Video. In this video, we are going to be going over the upcoming new game that is coming out, and that is Yu-Gi-Oh! Cross Duel. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Cross Duel beta just took place not too long ago, and so we have gotten a plethora of information over the past few days in terms of what we can expect from Cross Duel, and ultimately, what Cross Duel even is. And I gotta tell you, this game looks wacky as hell, and I am completely here for it. To me, it's almost like Yu-Gi-Oh! In name only, and what I mean by that is it doesn't feel like a traditional Yu-Gi-Oh! Game at all. It feels very different. There are rules that are completely different than your typical Yu-Gi-Oh! Whether you're referring to speed duels, master duel, rush duels, doesn't even matter. There are elements in cross duels that pretty much wipe away everything that we already know about Yu-Gi-Oh! As a card game and have to make you relearn new rules that will be applicable to this game. There's some elements that I really am excited for, and so we are going to go into everything we pretty much know, or most things that we know, and I'm going to also give my thoughts and some points that I'm really looking forward to. And I want to start with kind of my area of expertise, which of course is the anime. And based on this screen that you're seeing in front of you right now, it looks like every single anime is going to be represented. Duel Monsters all the way through Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. And I think that is super cool. You have a lot of new Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans that are joining as, you know, much younger fans because of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. We've already seen it in Japan that there are a lot more younger fans watching Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s, and they are attracting a younger audience, which ultimately was the goal of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. But the thing with a game like Duel Links or a game like Link Evolution, you know, a Yu-Gi-Oh! Video game, is that Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s was never going to be able to be represented in that game or in any of those games because rush duels are completely different than master duels. The card effects are catered to rush duel style, and so you're never really going to be able to have a game where you are going to be able to enjoy the older characters of Yu-Gi-Oh! And the older cards of Yu-Gi-Oh! Versus the newer cards and characters in Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s and the cards in rush duels. But this game, because it is going to be so completely different, allows us to see a duel between Yuga and Yusaku and Yugi and Yusei. And of course, this is not a typical quote-unquote duel in the sense that we know it, because Cross Duel is going to be so different, but it allows us to have that possibility, and it allows people that are really into Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s that maybe are not into the main game because 7s is their introduction to the series to get accustomed with some legendary cards from, at this point, the last 2 decades, including some of the shows that we now consider ancient, like, you know, Duel Monsters, GX, and 5Ds. I consider that entire first trilogy pretty ancient, although even Zexal was like 10 years ago at this point, which is insane. But I think that is super cool that every single series is going to be represented. We've even got audio leaks of Yugi and Kaiba's voice actors, Dan Green and Eric Stewart, respectively, reacting to Maximum Summon. It's very brief. It's just them going Maximum Summon. So that is also really cool that you are going to see a little bit of character interaction with the dialogue in this game. Granted, I'm not going to play that audio clip for you because I know part of the terms of service was that there couldn't be any, I believe, data mining, but that is something that is kind of broken all over the internet at this point. Also, I was not invited to the closed beta. I'm going to be honest, I didn't even apply for the closed beta because I just lost track of time. So it doesn't really apply to me, but out of respect, I'm not going to play any of those clips. There's also apparently sound effects for the 7's Road archetype, for Dragius, which is Luke's ace, and for Holly Angel and Firewall Dragon, Aoi, and Playmaker's boss monsters, respectively, from Vrains. So we are getting pretty much every single show, and as a Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime nerd, that is something that is exciting me so much about this game. Another aspect that I think is really weird is the monsters that we've all come to know and love. Stardust Dragon, Elemental Hero Neos, Utopia are vanilla monsters. They are vanilla monsters with no effects whatsoever. It's so weird seeing Utopia as a level 8 monster, but that is what we have. Blackluster Soldier, Junk Warrior, these are all going to be vanilla monsters. Now, apparently, you can use your skill trees, because apparently all of the vanilla monsters have skill trees, and so you can turn them into their normal summoning method. So you can turn Utopia into an Xyz. You can turn Stardust Dragon into a Synchro, but you'll have to upgrade those specific monsters. But to see these aces and to see all of the cards we're going to get as vanilla monsters is really exciting, because I'm very excited to see what flavor text we're going to get. For instance, Stardust Dragon now has the text, "One of the dragons that it is said will appear to serve a possessor of the Mark of the Dragon, selflessly serving as a shield for its allies. It stands as a symbol for the power of friendships." So if you are a 5Ds nerd like I am, that means so much more to you than maybe someone who's never seen 5Ds, because you understand the significance of Stardust Dragon. It's the same with Utopia, talking about Astral's memories. It brings hope to those who have entrusted their dreams to its white wings of light. And boy, oh boy, did we see that play out many, many times throughout Yu-Gi-Oh! Zale. So to see all the new, I guess you can say, lore we're going to get is really, really exciting. So that is something that it's weird to look at. It's weird to look at these monsters as vanilla monsters, but it's also very cool. So here are some of the rules that we know with Yu-Gi-Oh! Cross Duels. It is designated for 4 players to battle. Now, I've seen news that it's going to be 2 versus 2 and 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1, a 4-way battle royale. But apparently there will be tag duels, which is super cool. Each player has 3 monster zones and 3 trap zones. Their monster zones are connected to one another with lanes, which their monsters will traverse across. Each player's left and right monster zones has a lane that connects to the monster zones of 2 of their opponents, whilst the lanes of all players' center monster zones converge at the center of the field. Each player must have exactly 20 cards in their main deck, and they can have a single copy of each card in that deck. So no 3 Dark Magicians, no 3 Firewall Dragons or Stardust Dragons. You can only have 1 of each card. Very interesting. Each player starts with 4,000 life points instead of 8,000, which is akin to Duel Links and the anime. The maximum limit in which life points can be increased to is exactly 8,000. So if you want to focus on a deck that increase your life points, you can only cap that out at 8,000. Each player begins the duel with 5 cards in their hand, including a card that is designated as an ace card. Going into the turn structure, there is a set limit of 8 turns, so you're not going to have a 22-turn duel. We've all been there in Duel Links. During the draw phase, all players draw a card. During the main phase, all players can summon any number of monsters from their hand to their monster zones in either face-up attack position or face-up defense position. So for those of you that have been watching Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s or at least know about Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duels, that seems very Rush Duels-esque, where you can summon as many monsters as you want. So that is another element of Cross Duel that I really am enjoying, because it seems like they really are using elements from a bunch of different shows and a bunch of different games, and so that is really cool. But that is an element that really reminds me of Rush Duels. Summon materials are required for level 5 or higher monsters. Players can also set trap cards from their hand. When all players have completed their main phase, they all proceed to the battle phase. All monsters in attack position traverse across their designated lanes by 1 space. When 2 monsters meet on the space, or when an attack position monster comes in range of an opponent's monster zone, damage calculation takes place. Now, this is very interesting, and I have a friend that plays Hearthstone, and they say that this reminds them a lot of Hearthstone. I've never played Hearthstone, so I can't speak to it. If 2 monsters battle, attack versus attack and attack versus defense, their respective attack and or defense of the battling monsters decreases by the value of the battling opponent's value. Then if a value reaches 0, that monster is then destroyed. An example that I've been seeing on the internet, I think actually was on Duel Links Meta's website, Blue Eyes White Dragon, 3,000 attack, attacks Giant Soldier of Stone in defense position, 2,000 attack. After that battle takes place, Giant Soldier of Stone is destroyed, but instead of Blue Eyes White Dragon remaining with 3,000 attack, Blue Eyes White Dragon loses 2,000 of its attack because Giant Soldier of Stone had 2,000 defense, and now Blue Eyes White Dragon is down to 1,000 attack, frozen at that 1,000 attack point value. So that is pretty interesting, that you can kind of chip away at these stronger monsters that your opponents might throw at you, which I think probably adds a little bit more strategy, and I really do think that's a very interesting element that is completely unique to Cross Duels. The other element of monster versus monster is that players do not take battle damage if their monster battles another monster. The only way to inflict battle damage to a player is to attack directly with a monster that has fully traversed the lane to an empty opponent's monster zone. When a player takes damage from a direct attack, their opponent who landed the direct attack gains life points equal to the amount they lost. If a player's life point reaches 0, the cross duel immediately ends with the player having the highest life points as the winner. So this is not a situation where player 1 loses and then the 3 remaining battle it out. As soon as one player hits 0, then it ends, and whoever has the highest amount of life points win, which I think that could also add some strategy where maybe if you're in 3rd place and you see the person who's in 1st going after the person with the lowest life points, maybe you want to start assaulting the person that's in 1st place rather than team up to try and eliminate someone because you're not in a position to win when the game ends. I think that will probably prevent people from doing 3-on-1 strategies, from maybe even doing 2-on-1 strategies to a degree, because you don't want the game to end until you have the most life points. So I think that's actually a really good idea for a battle royal setup like this. Spell and trap cards are weird. Spell cards cannot be set and can only be activated during the battle phase. Trap cards can be set during the main phase and are activated automatically when their activation conditions are met. Some trap cards can be set to the space that is in the middle of the lanes. When 8 turns have passed, the cross duel ends with whatever player having the most life points being the winner. So spells and traps are going to be interesting. I have also heard, I forget where I heard it or saw it, that a lot of the spells and traps have different effects. I've also heard that a lot of the monsters have, like Blue Eyes White Dragon apparently has effects, which is very interesting. Or again, you can upgrade Blue Eyes to have effects. So there are a lot of new elements coming in Cross Duels that we are, as Yu-Gi-Oh fans, not used to at all. I mean, Blue Eyes White Dragon having effects is weird, and Stardust Dragon being a vanilla monster is weird. And then when you add in all of these new rule changes, there's a lot here. The last thing I want to go over is that monsters that would have originally been part of the extra deck are first acquired as normal monsters and can be upgraded via a skill tree system like every other monster in the game to acquire unique abilities and attributes. In this particular case, those monsters can also be upgraded back into their original Fusion Synchro or XZ's form, minus their original effect text, which can exist in your hand along with the rest of the cards in your main deck. So, guys, a lot to process here. As the video will probably be titled, Cross Duels is wild, but I am so here for it. And I saw a lot, not a lot of people, but I saw a few people kind of giving some negative pushback, just saying like, oh, this doesn't even feel like Yu-Gi-Oh! Like they're just kind of using the Yu-Gi-Oh! Name. And I think that that is actually a pretty valid argument, but I would kind of counter-argue that by saying we already have so many ways to play the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game. There's dueling at locals and remote dueling, which is obviously the most, I guess, common way to play the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card, but we're also getting a Master Duel Simulator. We're getting a Rush Duel video game as well. We have Duel Links, which can simulate speed duels and, you know, a new style of Yu-Gi-Oh!, but a familiar style of Yu-Gi-Oh! And so I wanted Cross Duels to be really weird and wild, and this is hitting on every single thing that I wanted from this IP. So I am very excited, and I am of the belief that an alternate and weird way to play a new version of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not a bad thing at all, especially with how accessible and how easy it is for us to already pick up the Master Duel game if we want to go to a locals or if we want to play the Master Duel Simulator or one of the many, you know, other simulators that exist out there. I will say we don't know how gacha this will be. This will be a gacha game similar to Duel Links, similar to your typical gacha games. So, you know, we'll see how pay to win it is, but this is definitely a game that I'm going to be getting, and this is definitely a game that I'm going to be playing, hopefully with some friends, hopefully with some of you guys, and I am really excited for Yu-Gi-Oh! Cross Duels. But that's going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. I really want to hear what you guys think of this game, so please let me know down below in the comments. And a special thank you to my Platinum tier patrons, Horace Maye, Goosey Q, Panther J, Blue Maiden 28, and Jarrett Buller, and to my Diamond tier patrons, Jesse Wood, Latrell Smith, Fasty, and Erick Avila, and to my Egyptian God tier patrons, MegaWill and Ccapacappuuu. Thank you so much to everyone who supports me on Patreon. I cannot tell you how much it means to me, and I highly recommend you check out my Patreon. It is a link down below. There are a lot of really, really cool perks that you can get if you sign up to be a Patreon and if you want to go that extra mile to support this YouTube channel. But regardless, thank you guys so much for watching. I stream on Twitch, I'm on Twitter, and I am on Instagram. Links for all those will be down below. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you in the comments, and I hope you have an amazing day. Take care, guys.